welcome to Battle of the Kylies, episode 2.
Das.
In this episode, we are exploring the theme of cohesion, as we said in the last episode. Sadly, Enjoy Yourself was eliminated last episode. Do you have any feelings on that?
Not too upset. It would have gotten a high score this episode though, because that album's pretty cohesive. But like, oh well, darn. No, it's got bops too. I love it too, but like, not the worst thing ever.
If I was to be honest, I expected it, and I was scared. Let's Get to It was like that close to getting eliminated, and I was like,
yeah, we can't have that. We cannot have that. Nope.
So this episode, a lot of the albums changed position. A couple stayed the same, a couple didn't. Some might surprise people, but however, we came to a conclusion that we both agree with our scores. And this time, we're going to say our scores and like why we gave it like that with the ranking.
So, okay. Cohesive. What is the most cohesive Kylie album, in our opinion?
And no one's going to be shocked to find out it's Aphrodite. What did you give it out of 10?
I gave it an 8 out of 10 because I ranked it very high. Scratch that. Sorry. I ranked it a 9 out of 10. And 9 is a very high rating, and I try not to give that rating, but literally, like, a lot of fans have, like, criticized it for being too cohesive, which, like, doesn't make sense, but whatever. But that's why I gave it, because it actually, if it's so cohesive that people complained about it, I felt the need. And Stuart Price did a great job making it all sound, it's even got the term Aphrodite sound. So, yeah, very cohesive.
For the first time, I gave it a lower score than you, but like not that low. I gave it 8.7 out of 10, and once again, as you said, it's a very well put together album, very cohesive. I genuinely don't know if there's any track that sound particularly out of place to me. Can't think, but I think they're all great. There's nothing I agree with this placement, so Aphrodite making its way from number 2 to number 1. So
also I want to say, even like Better Than Today, which has like some country influence, even still sounds a lot like it. So like, yeah, it matches genres very well.
Second place, maybe shocking. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Second place is Golden. With a score of 16.4 out of 20. So what did you give Golden?
Well, first, I rated it a 6 out of 10, which, like, doesn't make sense. I don't know what my mindset was. I changed it, I believe, to an 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10. I believe it's one of those. Because actually, I will say a lot of the openings of the songs sound very similar to me. I was telling Lee one day, we're like, I'll listen to like Shelby 68 will come on. I'll be like, oh my gosh, I love like Radio On, and I'm like, oh wait, this is Shelby 68.
I always get them confused.
Which they're all great songs. I love them all, but like they all have like a similar opening. It's very done well though. Very no complaints. Even the disco stuff and like Raining Glitter is done very well. So yeah, I think it's a very cohesive album.
I would agree with you. I gave Golden an 8.4 out of 10, and my reasoning is just because it's very cohesive. All the songs I feel very like they really do suit their place very well, and there's nothing I would have thought like, oh, this shouldn't have been on the album. No, yeah, everything deserves to be on the album. Even like I love how the standard version ends with music. The music suits Out Without You because like it's perfect, and then the deluxe one ends with Low Blow the Weight. That song, okay.
Oh yeah, that's a good song.
So overall, I agree with this placement as well. Number 3. Okay, so we got a tie, and possibly surprising, possibly not. I don't think so. But let's start with the first tie album, which is Body Language, at number 3 or 4, depending on how you look at it. And that scored a score of 16 out of 20. So what did you give Body Language and why?
I gave it a 7.5, and I gave it a little bit lower because the only track I feel is kind of out of place, at least in my opinion, is Red Blooded Woman. To me, that it's very more R&B and like Timbaland and stuff. But anyways, I know he didn't produce it. And the rest of the album is very like electronic synth pop. I mean, it's still all R&B, but I feel like it's kind of different. I don't know. To me personally, that track sounds kind of weird. But I gave it a 0.5 because mostly it is very cohesive. So, but that's my only thoughts on it.
I pretty much would agree once again with everything you said. I gave Body Language a 8.5 out of 10. I thought Body Language, all the the theme is very clear, it's very prominent, and if I'm being honest, once again, actually there are songs that I would have added onto the album, but I still think they would have fit the theme. I think the whole era was very cohesive as well. The only thing I wish that there was more ballads on the album, because to me Loving Days is perfect, and like if she did more songs like in that style of R&B, it would have been like amazing. So yeah, that's what I think on Body Language.
Also, side note, do you agree that Almost a Lover should have been on the album, or do you disagree?
That's one of my favorite Kylie B-sides to ever exist. It's so perfect.
Yes. To me, that's like if Kylie Minogue 1994 and Fever had a baby. That's Body Language, and I love it so much.
Third and fourth placement, number 2, and this is the one that shocked me a little, but not really because it is very cohesive, is Kylie, her debut album. It scored 16 out of 20 as well. I don't know why I had to look at that. What did you give it and why?
I gave it a clear 8 out of 10 because it is very, very cohesive. Very Italo disco, high energy, bubblegum pop, all that stuff. And it's also PWL, which is like they really produce stuff to be their brand. So yeah, it's very cohesive. If you hear a song, it's like, yep, that's Kylie 1988. The only thing that's not sound like it is the Mushroom ones, but those were not obviously produced by them. I mean, like Getting Closer and stuff, so that doesn't really count. But yeah, that's my feelings.
I'd agree. I gave it 8 out of 10. And my reasoning is because, once again, all the songs fit the theme, all of them fit their placement on the album. The only one that maybe doesn't is I'll Still Be Loving You, which, even though I like that song, I feel like it would have made sense if Made in Heaven was on there instead of that song, because, like, it fits the theme more, but I see why I'll Still Be Loving You was on there, because they needed, like, a song to stop dancing to, like...
Slightly, ever so slightly. Loki, I love like the wobbly synth in that song though. But yeah, Made in Heaven, weird that song's not on the album, but like...
I agree. Overall, Kylie's very cohesive, and they did a good job again. So that's 4 albums constantly that we've all agreed that
one episode will be like fighting and like, I'm not talking to you ever again. Just wait for the drama. Oh my gosh, it's gonna start. No, just
in 5th place, I don't know if this is shocking, I can't figure it out, but Fever. It scored, once again, let me look, I'm so sorry. It scored 15.9 out of 20, and I believe it deserved that score. So what did you give it and why?
I gave it an 8 out of 10, similar to Kylie. The only track, I wouldn't say to cut this out. Well, I was going to say Your Love, like the Latin influence, doesn't sound like the rest of the album, but actually that does kind of actually enhance the album because it gives it more variety. So I changed my mind. It's about as cohesive as, Kylie and stuff, Parlophone, it's a clear cut synth pop, new disco, type album. So it's very clear cut. There's not a song that's like, why is this on here?
Similar to what you said, actually, I give it a 7.9 out of 10. And as you said, I My least favorite song on that album has been ever since I've just ever heard it. Was Your Love.
Yeah.
I don't hate it, but when you think about all the other songs that could have been on Fever, and it's like,
Choices. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
but it's not a bad song.
Yeah.
Overall, very cohesive. Maybe Fragile, after Give It to Me, is a bit of a choice, but I
It's a bit
mean,
of a jump there.
yeah, yeah. But I still love both those songs a lot, so I agree with this one. Number 6 is one I don't think anyone can argue with, and that is Kylie Minogue 1994. Amazing album. It scored a score of 15.7 out of 20. So, what did you give it and why?
Now, I gave it a lower rating. I gave it a 7 out of 10. This is my favorite album, but I gave it a little bit higher because it does blend genres very well, but it is also kind of a big mix. Like some people say Confide in Me sounds different from the rest of the album. I kind of agree with that, but kind of not. It has Middle Eastern type sound to it. It has New Jack Swing, house music, club music. It has big bombastic jazz ballads. It has some Latin pop in there. Techno, we have Falling. I think it does blend very well, so I didn't give it below 7, but that's kind of where I gave it a little bit lower rating, but still an awesome album.
Yeah, once again, would agree with everything you said. Um, I actually gave it an 8.7 out of 10, and it's always, forever, has been my second favorite Kylie album. Very creative, very like amazing to listen to, and the thing is, the songs, even though a lot of them are kind of different genres, so you've got like R&B, you've got very kind of indie pop in a way, like techno
Yeah.
as you said, and house music with Where's the Love Gone, and like it just completely goes together well.
Yeah.
Uh, I think I don't know what my favorite song from this album is. For ages it was Time Will Pass You By, but now I'm like, confide in me and put yourself in my place though.
Yeah, it's so hard. It's such a solid album. It's such an easy listen too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to agree with you 100%. Again, love it.
And I'm sure when it comes around to production or lyrics, that album will be getting either the top 2 or number 1 placement, because
We
that
we know the top two in production and lyrics.
yeah,
Their
they're like,
time's coming. Don't worry.
right now they're like in the middle, but soon they will be. Number 7, partly because of my score for it, which, I mean, I don't know. I'll explain to that when it comes around. Number 7 is Impossible Princess. It scored 15.6 out of 20. So what did you give it and why?
Now, y'all people, don't come for me. Let me explain. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. Now, the album as a whole sounds amazing, but it is like kind of weird in some ways. Like to me, it's kind of weird that a track like Some Kind of Bliss and Drunk are like on the same album. Like sometimes it's kind of weird because it's Brit pop. You've got Celtic pop, which awesome by the way. Trip hop, techno, electronica, some jazz with through the years, but they do blend the genres very well. Like for instance, in Limbo, I could hear like a little bit guitar in the back along
Yeah.
with the electronic. So they did blend it, but I gave it a little bit lower because sometimes it's kind of like what like. But it is also it has a lot of variety, which is also a good thing. So yeah.
Um, I'm gonna have to explain like you did, but I didn't give it a low score, obviously, as we can tell. I gave it, and this is gonna sound so like me trying to get Impossible Princess to win. It's not. I promise it isn't. But I just clearly ranked it differently to everyone else. Everyone else who would do this, I gave it a 9.1 out of 10. And I promise it wasn't to sabotage anything else. But like, I gave it that because I ranked each song on how well they fit the album. And I think they all fit the album. I don't need anyone. Maybe could have been replaced with like Love Takes Over Me or something.
Yeah.
But in general, all of them really do fit like the same era, the same kind of style, and it's a good thing to hear together as an album. So that's why I gave it such a high score.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I don't think that's wrong of you. I mean, that's your opinion, and I actually agree with you because I didn't even think about that. Like lyrically, it does match. Like it has
Yeah.
such a theme to it, and I agree. I don't need anyone who's like a little bit kind of but I love it though. But it's like kind of my least favorite.
Yeah.
But lyrically, they all do match, and so I actually have to agree with you on that. I actually didn't think about that, but yeah, so agree.
Number 8, I feel like this one was basically going to happen anyway. Rhythm of Love, and it scored 15.2 out of 20. How much did you give it?
I gave it a 7 out of 10, similar to Kylie Minogue. Honestly, it is a very cohesive album. I don't know why I actually rated it so low. It's a very Euro pop. Actually, I meant to text you this. I was listening to work today, and it's very like Euro pop, Euro dance, and I love that so much. I love What Do I Have to Do? Better the W Know, iconic. Um, and the remix of Shocked matches a little bit better than the more rock version, but I like that too. Um, None tracks I feel like don't match. Like I'm like, why is this on here? Because even I guess the R&B tracks like One Boy Girl and
Yeah.
Count the Days, they still match. So I will say this as a side note: Wikipedia lists it as a New Jack Swing album, which like I don't see that, but still I think it's actually very cohesive but a little bit more adventurous than other PWL albums. So yeah.
I gave Rhythm of Love an 8.2 out of 10. Genuinely, could have been higher. There's no like real songs that are just like, whoa, does not fit. But I, they're all great songs to listen to. And literally over the last month, I've really grown to think this album is better than I thought it was in the past.
Yeah.
And I totally see why. It's just a great album, and her vocals here were definitely better than on previous 2 albums. Not saying they were bad, but like they got better as she grew older.
I actually, yeah. Oh, sorry, I keep blapping, but I had the same thing where I used to not think much of this album, and now lately I've been like this album's really good. Like, what have I been sleeping on? But yeah, but anyways.
For 9, we have a tie. I'm not gonna lie, I hate ties, but can't really fault this one. So the first album to place at number 9 or number 10 is Light Years, with a score of 14 out of 20. So what did you give Light Years and why?
I gave it so far our lowest rating, or my lowest rating so far, 6 out of 10, which some people mention this, and I do agree. Like, you'll have, like, it's not blended as well. It's got variety, but I don't know. Like, you'll have the disco tracks. You'll have, like, I don't know what you call it, the islandy, cheesy sound of, like, Love Boat.
Yeah.
Latin pop, the ballad, which is beautiful, but like it's kind of like where'd this come from? Like rock, kids. I guess maybe that's not that different. But yeah, but it's a little bit kind of jarring at times, so I gave it a little bit low rating, but still an awesome album. And yeah, I do love all those tracks, by the way.
Yeah, an 8 out of 10. Surprisingly, I gave it higher rating than Fever. I don't know why, but yeah, listening to it, you have like songs that are, I don't know, there's some songs that definitely didn't fit this album as much as I thought they should have. Like I'm So High, to me, didn't feel like it fit that well.
Yeah.
And as much as I love Bittersweet Goodbye, that could have been the ending song, second ending song, because Light Years, that song is like the perfect ending, but
Yeah.
Bittersweet Goodbye could have easily been like that. And it has goodbye in the title, so that it would have made sense more.
Yeah.
And to me, like, it feels like they put the 2 singles at the start because they were like, okay, well, we need to make sure that audiences don't like skip songs. So they were like, well, let's just put those two songs there. And then So Now Goodbye, which is like on a night like this is like more of a sadder sounding pop song in a way, and then it just goes back to goodbye, and it's like another song that has goodbye in the title. It could have easily once again been the ending song, but like,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I totally agree.
It's not a bad album by any means, but it deserves its place at like number 9. So
yeah, I agree.
and the second high, which this album I feel like in this series is literally getting like hate on, and it's a really great album.
Oh, I know what it is.
Let's get to it. It's at number 10 or number 9. Once again scored 14 out of 20. So what did you give it and why?
Let's get to it. Yeah, so I gave it a 6 out of 10, similar to Lightyear's. Reason for that is the album is very cohesive. Except I gave it a low rating because of one track, which I love, which is I Guess I Like It Like That. But it's like that song and Closer and Do Your Dare should have been like its own album, because that's very like dance, very rave, I guess, like club music. Whereas like the rest of the album is very R&B, New Jack Swing. You'll have maybe some more jazz or whatever, I guess, like. Give me just a little more time. Oh my gosh. But that still matches. I feel like, I don't know. I guess I like it like that. That's the reason why I give it a lower rating. Love that song though. Don't get it twisted.
Once again, I agree. I feel like I say that way too much, but okay. I gave it an 8 out of 10 purely because of the reason as the songs, they do much to the album, maybe apart from I Guess I Like It Like That. But the way they're like listed to me, some of them are a bit out of place, like No World Without You, and then I Guess I Like It Like That. That was a choice. And what else? Give me just a little more time. Fine Feelings, even though I love that song a lot, it's my favorite song off the album, but does it match its place? I don't quite know. And once again, it's a great album. It's actually my third favorite Kylie album, and it's placing low. I can feel it getting eliminated very soon, so I hope it doesn't. But if it doesn't match with the themes, it might be soon.
Oh no!
Sad.
I feel like we have more that'll go before that. Don't worry.
Yeah. Also, side note with Lightyears, for some reason Apple have this listed as a rock album.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I don't get
to see why.
No, they do that with sorry to go like on a little tangent here, but they do that a lot with disco albums. Like some people do that with Madonna's Confessions on a Dance Floor and some Madonna Summer stuff, which is like she has rock stuff, but like it's like a disco album. I don't know why they do that. Like just list it as dance or pop, not rock.
Yeah.
I noticed that too. And Aphrodite I think is rock too. It's so weird.
Yeah, it is. And it's like the exact opposite, and it's just like okay. In 11th or 12th place, you obviously probably have all figured out what albums are here. And for me, this is like the the worst of outcomes, but it had to happen. Sad to say that it happened so soon. We have a change in rules. This week and from the week onwards, we decided that in the bottom 2 albums would have to perform a song either from another album that was performed in that era, and the better performance that we chose got to stay, or just an album that we think deserved it more than the other album. So the 2 albums I have to perform are Kiss Me Once and X. So I'm going to shorten the performances down, 1 due to copyright and 2 due to just timing. So performance 1, Kiss Me Once. performance to X.
Just like a burning radio, I'm on to you. In the silver shadows, I will radiate. What you see and what it seems are nothing more than like a blue-eyed diamond I shine on and on and on and on.
We have made a decision. Kylie Language, would you like to announce what we have chose?
Yes, we have chosen that between the two, that Kiss Me Once, sadly, has to go. Because X is a better album. Anyways, they both are not the most cohesive.
Yeah, not really. And it saddens me that Kiss Me Once has gone.
Lyrics. There's some good
Writing.
lyrics in there.
There's some good lyrics.
To talk about, because Kiss Me Once has like R&B, funk disco, dubstep, and then X is also like a whole other mess. But again, X is a more solid album, has more songs that I enjoy. No shade to Kiss Me Once. Some of the hate on the album I think is a little bit too harsh. I think that is a very still solid album, and some songs that I listen to a lot, like all the time, that have actually gotten me through hard times. So I love both albums, but we do both agree that X is just better, and it's in the terms of cohesiveness is less. So sorry, it's our show and we get to choose, and I don't think people would complain about that. I think a lot of people would agree.
I think X and Kiss Me Once are both like the fans, like they're not the albums that they choose to listen to. I feel like I've heard that a lot, especially in like Time to Talk Show's reviews. They seem to like not like X and they don't like Kiss Me Once as much either. But once again, that's just personal taste, and I feel like people will agree. And I don't know if anyone disagrees. Comment which album you think should have been eliminated this week. And
yeah,
we discussed before we started recording. The next theme for episode 3 will be
production and lyrics. Is that right? We were doing two.
Production and lyrics combined.
Deconstruction era is getting its time to shine because that's our moment. So we will kiss goodbye, Kiss Me Once.
Yeah.
And go back and it'll enjoy itself with Enjoy Yourself. They're just sitting in the corner with Jason Donovan. And the yoga balls.
Having a good time.
Yeah, they're sitting on yoga balls. Like each like iconic image from each album is just like there. Oh my gosh, I love that.
Well, Kiss Me Once, the chair of the lips is sat there in the corner waiting for you, and I'm sure that all your fans will be waiting there too. Thank you for competing, and until we see you next, Kiss Me Once, farewell.
Just look forward to next episode. I feel like it'll be very different, and we'll have a lot to talk about. We'll have to write down some lyrics and talk about these.
Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for episode 3. Sound off in the comments below if you think what album should go next, and we'd love to hear your opinion, all of our active viewers. So yeah, production and lyrics, we'll see you then.